Hello everybody and welcome to episode 45 of our Dynamic Factory Let's Play series. So in the last episode we set up our oil field over here, set it up so that it can send off messages. Actually it's not connected to our main bus, but set it off so that it can collect oil and it should send messages once we actually connect it to our main bus. Just going to make sure, I think everything there is set up correctly. So in today's episode we're going to be filling in all this water here, and we'll be setting up a oil refinery area up here that'll run the recipes needed to convert our crude oil into petroleum, heavy oil and light oil, or is it heavy fuel, light fuel? It's one of the two. They call it heavy oil. Okay. So that's what we're going to be doing in this episode. We've got a good amount of landfill in our car, which should hopefully make this a fairly simple process once we get a good sort of brush size for making the land. Let's just... how high up do we need to go? That'll be kind of high enough at the moment. So yeah, we're just filling this all in. Now, there's going to be some interesting challenges with making our oil refinery area. Mainly, up until basically today, all of our processing bays and furnaces and our mines, they've always only had one resource that they output. But our oil refinery will require 1 to 2 resources in, either just crude oil or crude oil and water, and out it will give us 3 different resources. So, that's a fairly significant change to what we normally have. And we're going to have to think of how we lay out all our circuits so that we can actually support 3 different outputs. And how we lay out our tracks too, to have 3 different outputs. Now, good. Now, one way we could do it is we could have just one output station, and we could do the same thing we have when we have requests and just have multiple different signals sent off saying, you're able to come here to pick up A, B, and C. The issue I have with that, though, is when a train gets there, how do we know if the train's there to pick up A, B, or C? We don't really. Is there a little bit of water left? There is. Okay. I think that is a good amount of space then. So yeah, if a train comes, we don't actually know if it's there to pick up A, B, or C, because currently we don't care. Trains here, the only thing it could be here to pick up is iron plates. Trains here, the only thing it could be here to pick up is copper plates. There's no spot where a train comes and we're like, oh, do you want, transport belts, or do you want circuit wires? We don't have that. We're going to have that here. So what I think is easier, I'm trying to think if, these dots here on the map are still tiny bits of water. So what I'm thinking is easier is that we'll go with 3 different stations being able to supply resources, and they'll each supply 1 resource. That way, if a train comes to the first one, we know it's there to pick up A. If it comes there to the second thing, we know it's there to pick up B. And the third, we know it's there to pick up C. Just quickly checking the map, trying to figure out where... There it is. These last few little pieces of water are. Okay. Now, while that'll work fine, it does mean that if we look at one of our normal stations, so we've got this bank here. This has the... Let's go to this deconstructor so I can highlight it. So this bank here holds what our inputs are. This bank up here is for our trains that arrive to pick up stuff, telling them where to go next and which carriages to fill up. What we're going to need to have is we're going to need to have 1 bank with requests, because we only need 1 train to come in with a request. We would need, though, to have 3 different banks with the destination side, because we'd have 3 different destination platforms. So I think what I'm going to do is let us... It's this one. This is the supplying line. Let's bring this just down this way somewhere. I think that will be fine. Do I? Probably in the car. Yes, this one here. Just build it here. We'll build another one here. Slightly close, but it should be fine. So that should get us our power, and it should get us our Roboport coverage for our station. That'll be over here. Now, these are actually pretty short. If you compare the width of one of these bays to one of these, you can see these go on for way longer than they actually need to. What I was thinking is we could potentially move, get the right key, we could potentially move this section here to being maybe over here. So we just have a straight line of combinators, and then we can take this whole line and duplicate it 3 times to have our 3 output spots. Either that, or we would need to take this block like this and duplicate it 3 times for our 3 destinations. One's just wider while the other one's taller. I mean, it'd be nice if there was some way to measure actually how wide that is and calculate that. It's also fairly tall. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 5, let's say 8 or 9 combinators high. This is 5. So 9 would get you probably down to here. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, you're looking at an area of about that size in height, which might make it a bit hard to stack them. You'd need to have a bit more space, I think, between each one. So I think what we'll go with is we'll go with the layout like this, and we'll just stack this section 3 times. I think that's going to be the easiest layout to go with. We'd need a bunch of big poles on the right here to go down to the correct station. In fact, you need 2 because you need this actually. Oh, this one stores what's in the chests. So you would need both of these. Well, let's get started with this. So, probably need this whole area. We do not need inserters or chests. We need combinators. Signals, I think. That's basically everything we need. That's the main circuit part. We don't actually need this track up the top. So we'll get rid of that. And the lights and medium electric poles that go with it. I think that should be good. So we just have our station that will drop resources off at. We have a bank for the drop-off station, and we have 1 bank for the pickup station, and we'll need to duplicate this section twice. Don't need any of this here, don't need that, don't need that. Okay, I think that is the blueprint that we actually need. Now, let's just choose a spot. I think if we go here, we'll definitely have enough room for the extra 2 blocks at the top. Which is good. Let's just find a nice spot to put this in so that if you're going to go there, that gets us to about here. We can have it. Let's put it... Oh. We just got the achievement for iron plates in an hour. Let's put this one here, I think. I think that's a nice spot to have it. Let's actually see what other achievements we are still able to get. Research oil processing, that must be the advanced one for that one. Yep. 1 million electric circuits, yep. We're not going to get the ones that, like, you know, we're not going to get Lazy Bastard because we've definitely already crafted our 111 different things in our hand. Okay. This is not good. Let me guess. Okay, well, our drones need to fix all that up. So while they're doing that, let's go and fix up all our trains. One of the issues with having so many trains and having loops and crosses like this is that it's very easy to get deadlocks if you don't signal everything correctly. So let's have a look at what we can do. So this train can't pass by because this train's in its way. This train, so they're locked each other out. Which kind of means if I have a train that goes past here and here, there's a light here, what I'd really want is I'd want this to be a combo. Can you in place for place signals? You can. Good. Okay. Because I wouldn't want a train going past this spot unless it can also go past this spot and get out of the way, which is what this train's in the way for. Now, does that mean there's a signal here? Because these are different colors, so there should be. Good. Is this a combo signal? Yep. Okay, that should mean a train can't leave this spot unless it can go past this signal, this one, this one, this one, this one, and get out of the way. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually drive this train, and I should be able to actually sneak past that one. Now I can go back to automatic, now that it's out of the way of that train. Okay, we'll see what else we have to do. So, yeah, I'm happy with the train passing this signal if it can get to this one, because it won't pass there until it's free to go. Don't need this track anymore. So we'll just get rid of it. Yep, so this train has already reserved this whole line, which means no other train could come up and block it off. Which is what we want, so I think that is a fix for that issue. Why is there a train here with iron plates in it? No, 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 no. You're clearly not doing the correct thing. Which train is this? This one here, manual. I don't know why you're here. You shouldn't be here. I don't know where it would have just been. Let's check our rules and see if there's any rule that doesn't make sense. So your unloader goes to signal. You go to 1. You go to signal. You go to 1. That all looked fine. Got plates in every spot. Okay, the only iron plate request in here is at 4,600, so let's check you. You normally need plates. And you're 512. So I don't know why you don't have plates. Same with this one actually. This believes it's made a request and it also doesn't have plates. Let's go to Bay 8 then. We'll just get out of the train. We'll send it off to number 8. I'm going to have to meet it down there because it's not actually scheduled to go to 8. It's scheduled to go to the iron ore mine. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to meet it here, move everything around, and then send it off to where it's actually meant to be on its way to. But while we're fixing all this, hopefully our bots are busy. 2 objects are missing materials. Okay, that's because I don't have any steel plates over there. Oh, so it was only the back 3 that actually were sufficiently stocked with plates. So that at least gives us a slight indication of where it was meant to be going, because it clearly was meant to be going to a station that only takes the back 3 with iron plates. But we'll send it on its way. So back off to the iron mine you go. Okay, I'm going to go get some steel plates because that's what we need now, so that we can make our roboports. Yeah, 30 I don't think will be enough for 2 roboports. Might as well get some more while we're there anyway. Copper, it should be, I think, the next one, yep. Okay, just pick up, yep, several hundred. Let's actually see how our bots are going. So they've got a little bit done, not much. Mainly because I believe everything else will be outside the range of the current roboports, so that's why we need them done ASAP. Now, thinking of the bigger picture past just this episode and into future episodes, oil processing kind of presents a problem to us that we haven't solved yet, but it's something that I did want to do eventually anyway. And that is that with oil processing, if you're only consuming your petroleum gas, your light oil and your heavy oil will fill up and you'll stop actually refining it. So that's why, I'll just put this in so that at least it's doing something. So that's why I have, all these chemical plants converting the light and heavy fuel into solid fuel. That's fine, but, occasionally you actually want to process these into other things, like we want to turn heavy fuel into lubricant, for example, to use in our red engines. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to have, and this is going to be needed for our brain anyway, is we're going to need to have a way to count how much of any item there is in our system, basically. So what I mean by that is, let's go to a mine, right? So, an iron ore goes past, say, this line here, or this line here, or any of the other lines that are equivalent to that. Once an iron ore has gone past that, we'll count that as having 1 iron ore in our system because it's, somewhere in one of these chests, or it's in a train, it's somewhere in our system. Now, when the train goes and takes it to the iron furnace, once it passes, say, this line, this belt here, we'll count it as no longer being in our system because from this point in time, that iron ore is basically, as far as we're concerned, it doesn't exist anymore. It obviously still does, and it will be turned into an iron plate, but as far as our system will be concerned, it doesn't count. Now, once this iron plate gets to, say, this belt here, it'll be counted as being in our system. So our system has lost 1 iron ore, but it's gained an iron plate. Now, that iron plate might go into a train, and then that train might drive it to, let's say, here. And again, once it goes past this belt, we'll say, okay, we don't have an iron plate in our system anymore because it's, at this point, we consider it consumed. Then, we get our ammo. Our ammo goes to, say, this belt here just before the splitter. And we'll say, okay, well, now we have 1 ammo in our system. And that way we can count, how many items are in our system. And, there's obvious endpoints like our science, any science that goes past, say, this belt here, that's a science that's been spent. It's not necessarily being consumed yet, but as far as our system is concerned, it doesn't exist anymore. Now, we're going to need to have a similar thing with fluids, and fluids are a lot harder to do that with because while, belts, it's easy, you just put a circuit on a belt and you can just do it on its... Okay, yeah, it's waiting for that. Cool. So, you could just do a belt. You could actually set one up right now. Simple enough thing. We'll just do a simple system like this. So we get red, red, red. You just get everything at 0 and output it again, so you're just a memory cell. This we want it to read on pulse. And that's going to now just tell us how many copper plates have moved past that belt. So if I actually go and pick a few up, you'll see that counts up. And we could have a similar system up here. Let's just move my car out of the way. Could have a similar system here is where I want it. But this time we're going to actually change this, so this will be instead multiplying it by -1. Connect this to the green. Green out. Same for that. Let's just reset this. If we multiply this by 0 and add it again, that should reset it. And so now if we collect belts from here, you'll see that it's getting copper plates and it's losing them instantly, because as soon as a copper plate passes this, we add it as being in our system, and then for every copper plate that passes the top area, we count 1 leaving our system. And I don't have enough copper plates to get rid of the rest, so let's just... There we go. So now it thinks it's -2 because 2 more copper plates have gone out of the system than into it. So that's kind of how we're going to do that. But how do you do that with fluids? Because fluids don't just flow in one direction, they can flow in multiple directions. And I have worked out, I believe, a circuit using pumps, using several storage tanks, that I believe can count how much fluid's entering our system, as well as how much fluid is leaving our system. Counts it basically the same way. Once you can count it in one direction, you can copy that on your consumer end and have, you know, something counting how much fluid's leaving your system. Let's just get rid of these trees. So I think I have that, and I think I'll probably do that in the next episode, or depending on how long this episode takes, it's pretty close to a whole episode already, according to timing. I don't feel we've actually done all that much so far. We've really only just talked about what we're going to be doing. But, you know, planning is always good, but progress is also very nice to have. So I think once we get this actual fluid area set up, that's when we're going to talk about doing all that, because we're going to definitely need it, because what I want is a system where I can have, say, a bunch of chemical plants making solid fuel. And what they'll do is they'll say, hey, if we have, you know, 50,000 heavy oil in our system, we'll make a request saying, hey, give us some oil because, you know, we'll process it into solid fuel. But if we don't have 50,000 heavy oil, we'll just assume that, you know, we can't do anything with that because that's going to be used for other things in our network. So that's why we're going to need to build that, so that we don't get bottlenecked by the fact that we consume petroleum, but we don't consume any of the heavy or light fuel. Now, what's the current recipe? Okay, it's still that one. Let me think if... Okay. What I'll do is I'll probably have put a cut in here already. Otherwise, I'm telling you I'm putting a cut in, and we'll be back once all our construction bots have finished actually building this area. So our bots have been busy at work. They're not quite done yet, though I'm missing a radar dish to actually see how much they've done here. But I noticed a few things that I'm going to mention just now. Firstly, you can see that our pollution is getting very close to this base here. It's actually getting to this base here. I see it occasionally enter this cell. And I think that's it for that. We also have an issue with iron plates. This should have iron plates in the first two, copper plates in the next two, and iron gears in the last two. But as you can see, there's iron plates in all 6 blocks. I think I figured out what the issue is, and that is, I believe, and I am correct, these lights here are not set up correctly. I thought, you know, we've had all these issues since I put in the new 2 furnaces. The issues have always been with iron plates, so it must have just been this one down here that had the issue. And then I watched this train to see where it was going, and it was meant to go to Bay 4, but it ended up stating that it was going to go to the waiting bay. Turn that off. So what must have happened is we've had trains go to this bay. They fill up a full load or however much they need. They then go off to our waiting bay. They get told to go somewhere else to pick up some other stuff. They go there, can't pick up anything, so end up going to that destination full of iron plates. So if that is correct, either iron gears or copper plates there should be a request for. There's a request for all three, but one of those should be missing. So 4,800, 4,800, let's see. Oh, that 4,900 is pretty close, but I don't see a copper plate request. So what must have happened, got an iron plate request, came here, filled up. Then it went to the waiting bay, got told to take copper plates there, went to our copper plate area to fill up. That couldn't load anything in because the train was already full of iron plates, and then went over here to drop off the copper plates to a bank that was already, with a train, I should say, with a train that was full of iron plates, and so filled up stuff that it shouldn't have, which is very annoying. But that should be that fixed, and ooh, it looks like I'm at the wrong station, so I thought that we were done with all our bots, but our bots are actually the next station up. So let's keep going north. I can now see it on the radar, and it looks like it is done. So that's actually very nice timing. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get... I want this one in it as well, at least, so let's get all of this. Let me see. I believe that's all we need. Let me try to figure out where these few combinators here connect to. You're a green line. You connect to this on the green line. Oh, that must be to do with how many items are there. Does that mean, yep, that green line goes across to here. Okay, that makes sense. So I want that. I don't need that. I don't think I need those two. They are... Where are they? They're these two here, so I don't need those two. But otherwise, that should be the entire circuit for a destination station. So we'll take that. And we will just copy it up. One. See if we can get it in a line nicely. 2 times. So this should be for 1, 2, and then a third station. So again, I'll be back once this is all set up. So while our bots are busy working away here, I noticed at one of our iron furnace areas we had iron plates in the input area. So our train that was going over here and picking stuff up and going to the wrong stations managed to stuff up that as well. So I thought, let's make sure this doesn't happen ever again, because as we get more and more stations, this happening is going to be more and more annoying. So we go over to our waiting bay, because that's where all our trains will be going. So here's our current train, and it's hooked into this wire on the green line, which goes over here to this circuit here that determines what station it should go to next, and what its final destination should be. What I thought we'd do is we'd go into this stop and we would read the train contents. If we look at this train, you'll see that it has some steel plates in it, which means this reads steel plates. This green line connects to this arithmetic combinator and then this decider combinator that only looks at the signal train at station signal. So the fact that we've also got the steel plates on this line doesn't matter. That doesn't interfere with our circuit over here. But if we go to the other side, normally this big electric pole was connected to this medium electric pole, but I actually changed it. So now this big electric pole connects to this little circuit here, and this output will connect to this medium electric pole. So what does this circuit do? Well, the first side, this left side, is just a 2-tick buffer, but that's going to be quite important. Our right side gets our signal train at station and negates it. Now the output of these two, so we've got a 1-tick buffer and a negator on the train at station, go into this decider combinator here. Now it checks if anything is greater than 0, which basically means we're checking, is there any signal on the green line that isn't the train at destination signal? If there's any signal apart from that one, send out a red signal of 1. Now this is another 1-tick buffer, so out of this we have our green input again, and out of here we either have red as 1 or we have no red signal at all, if the only thing on this green line is our signal train at destination signal. Now this decider combinator checks if our red signal is 0, and if so, it lets everything through. So in this case, it's not going to let anything through because we have something else in the train. Now that means that what will happen is the train will come here, it'll sit at the station, because it'll have something in it, this will not allow the signal to get passed through to actually tell it where to go, which means the train will sit here forever. Which might sound like a bad idea, except with it sitting here forever, it cannot go to a station and taint it by giving it steel plates, which it shouldn't have. So that's actually a preferable solution. Now that I took those steel plates out, if we go over here, the only thing we should have is the train signal, which means this has no input because train at signal plus negative train at signal is 0, which means the only input this thing has is just the signal train at station. And that means that we can connect that through, and now because this train is empty, it's allowed through. So with this circuit now, we can know that the only trains leaving this station are empty, which is quite important because the only trains that should come to this station should be empty. I think that's going to be a very useful sort of sanity. It's not really a sanity check. What would I call it? You could kind of call it like we're asserting that the train is empty. It's an assert check. We're making sure the train's empty. If it's not, we're basically halting everything to do with sending out trains until that is fixed. So let's go and have a look over here. We're probably... Actually, I want to pick up some iron plates. So what I want to do is I want to make a few things. I want to make probably, let's say 4 of these. I'm going to want to make a lot of underground pipes and some above ground pipes. Just get some more iron plates because we're probably going to want more things. Now if my inventory looks empty, it's because everything is currently in my car, including a lot of plates. Probably from when I picked them all up, I just put them in the car. Okay, so is this completely done? Yes, it is. I was actually hoping to get in before this was done because I thought we don't actually need to wait for that. But okay, it's done anyway. So in this case, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to have our 2 fluid pumps set up there. They should be on. They're not connected to a circuit network because if a train comes with fluid in that wagon, it should have fluid in it. We will then connect this to 2 tanks, this to 2 tanks, hook this all up. And do I have, they're probably in my car, I should have a bunch of refineries. So what I think we'll do just to finish off this episode is we'll just line up how our refineries will be set up, and then the next episode we'll deal with the unloading side of this station, and we'll connect our 1, 2, 3 and 4 lines into the main network. Well, our 1 and 2 lines, because 3 and 4 don't exist yet. This is not good. Oh, I thought I was meaning to put turrets down there. Okay. How long has that alert been there for? So far, all we've lost is a single inserter, which is alright. Breaking a combinator would be annoying because that could mean that Where is it? There it is. Okay, that could mean that, you know, our circuit network does stuff that we don't want it to do. So, repair this. It's a bit annoying that I've lost furnace, but they are in our logistics network. Does this show us? Not KL. Does this show us requests? No, it doesn't. No. Okay. Well, what I will do first then is I'll put a small defense down here. We only had one buyer to come to visit us, so and that's probably about the number I would expect anyway. We're only just touching their base. But we don't want them to come and destroy anything again. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so that gives us an okay amount of defense around the front area here, which is where I'd expect the biters to come. Okay. So we've had lots of stuff happen this episode that we didn't have planned, and we haven't nearly got everything I actually had planned to do this episode done. Let's at least get our refineries up. So we'll go 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there we go. Make the left side 2 and the right side 1 high. That way we can easily just pipe everything in. Now we're going to want the left side to go to one of these fluid tanks and the right side to go to the other. Now currently the only recipe we can do takes crude oil into both the left and right side. But eventually we will have a recipe that needs water in one side, crude oil in the other. And so that's why we're going to have 2 different tanks of inputs. And we're going to keep these separate so that we can easily just patch it in to have water in one side and crude oil in the other. Let's just get these. Oh, this is going to be the last one till the next set of 5 are made. Come on. There we go. Okay, well, I think this is perfectly lined up. Put this one there. Put that one there. There we go. So these go into the... that's kind of a bit backwards because these are going to the left side while these are going into the right side. So I could have planned that better if I'd actually planned it, because I could have had these going into the left and these going into the right. But we'll leave it with this at the moment. And let us see if there's anything else in my... There we go. Nope. I wanted some copper ore plates, which I do have, because I want to craft another bunch of these. I thought you could hold it down now and it would place it correctly, but no, not in that situation. So a train could come in here, could unload crude oil, and that would go into all of these. Actually, we could really fit probably another 5 or 6 on, but I don't know consumption-wise how that would go. Ooh, and our recipes have changed, so let's just quickly check this one. Okay, that's not a bad recipe, though needing to make plastic bars is a bit annoying. But we do already have coal on our network, and petroleum gas is what we're making now. Those engine units, not too hard. And mining drills, I don't think are hard either. I think that's actually the base recipe. Yeah, it is. Well, anyway, this is JackB1024 signing off. I'll see you tomorrow.